Like a lot of you, I'm always listening to music. I listen to music at work, I listen to music at the gym, and I listen to music while I'm driving too. But there's one place I always take my headphones off. When was the last time you actually stopped to listen to birds singing? Well, you might want to make the time to, especially after watching this video. Let me show you what I mean. So it's currently 5:30 in the morning here, and there's not a breath of wind, but just listen to the unedited sound. The forest is really live here. I'm surrounded by life, even though the only human, as far as I can see from miles around, is me. Birds can be found in almost any location in the world, and they vary wildly. Some are huge, some are small, some are ugly, some are adorable. They've all got one thing in common though: they are prolific communicators. You'd struggle to find a silent bird. Even stealthy birds who hunt have distinct calls that can quickly identify them. And throughout human history, this music is something we've been able to hear in the background. That is until recently. With the advent of modern cities came the absence of many birds. But even in the most densely populated cities, you'd be able to find a bird singing in a tree. I suppose noise pollution is completely subjective and relative, because while listening itself is a beautiful, relaxing place to be, sort of those birds being almost completely drowned out is taking something away from the experience. And yet somehow, you might be able to hear with the microphone, they're still managing to pierce through. The bigger, stronger birds. It's an almost inescapable soundscape. And there's a certain impressiveness that such a small thing can still have such a massive impact. Hearing one is easy, but have you ever tried to get a picture of one? So as usual, I've been trying to document my trip here. But the one thing I'm talking about today, the birds, I'm really struggling to capture. There's a lot about, but they're just a bit elusive. And I have neither the patience nor, quite frankly, the money needed for the equipment to do wildlife photography. The lens I need costs literally more than my car. Still, I'm not here to take pictures of birds. I'm here to enjoy the birdsong that are just absolutely surrounded by. If you're someone who lives in a city, you likely associate birdsong with the great outdoors. A location miles away that takes a long time to get to. The thing is, the birds are likely singing all around you. They're just being drowned out. And this drowning out creates some problems, because it can cause you to feel really lonely, even when you're surrounded by people. I find solitude to be a bit of a funny thing. I love these moments I have to myself. The fact that I can come out early morning and get some time to myself and not be around anybody is one of my favourite parts of doing this as sort of a side hustle. But I'm a really social person in real life. I hate being on my own day to day. I can't stand it. I think that's why I appreciate these moments all the more, because when it's times like this that I'm on my own, enjoying something, enjoying nature, enjoying the bird song, getting some photos, I feel like I can experience solitude with some peace, a peace of mind. It's when you're stressed and there's lots of stuff going through your mind that the solitude really gets you down, whereas when you are out in nature, your mind becomes filled with the positive aspects of nature that pushes out all those negative thoughts that we all seem to have these days. I say solitude. I am still surrounded by life. The birds prove that. I suppose there's no such thing as true solitude when you're out in nature. And that's a comforting thing, I think. You're never alone. One interesting thing about birdsong is that often it's not just about singing. They're not just doing it for the fun of it. Most of it is things like warning calls. You know, they're warning the other birds that there's a strange looking fella walking through the forest, or that there's a predator animal coming through, or they're marking their territory. This branch is mine, that worm's mine, that sort of stuff, you know, the sort of thing you like to shout at 6:30 on a Friday morning. There's also one other thing they tend to shout a lot about and do a lot of demanding for, but as this channel is PG, we'll probably skip over that one. We better move on. A study conducted by Dr. Eleanor Ratcliffe of Surrey University found that during one of the darkest times in recent history, the lockdown, 73% of people she surveyed reported being able to hear more birds singing. This wasn't because there were more birds during the pandemic. It was because there were less things to drown them out. People couldn't just hear the birds, though. They reported that being able to hear them actually gave them a great deal of comfort in what was truly a horrible time. Why? So, other than a very blurry photo of a dipper, I've got absolutely nothing. I've been waiting here for about 15 minutes and there's no birds about. It must be either the wrong spot for feeding this time of day, or I'm just too conspicuous. I've tried to be quiet, but when you weigh as much as me, it's very difficult. I'm not a small presence wherever I go. Another reason for me not to be a wildlife photographer. Well, that was a bit of a bust, but that's the reality of trying to take pictures of birds. I have got plenty of pictures in the past of various birds that I'm proud of. It's one of those things you absolutely cannot guarantee. No matter what the conditions are, when you're doing stuff like landscape photography or street photography, there's always something you can eke out. But if you just don't get the birds to take a picture of, then you just don't get the picture. The annoying thing is that you can hear them everywhere. Still, what a sound to be able to hear. We can often perceive things as being good for us when there's actually no science to back it up. Think of all the times you've said, I really need a holiday, only to spend the whole time eating junk food and getting sweaty by a pool. The beneficial effect of birdsong, however, is not some sort of woo-woo pseudoscience. A study conducted by Brighton and Sussex Medical School revealed that listening to birdsong resulted in significantly lower heart rate and cortisol levels compared to urban noise or silence. This means that there is an actual scientific reason to spend time listening to birds, and maybe even getting a picture of one. Yeah, some there for you. I've made a friend. Now, mate. You're a beauty, aren't you? So next time you're in a location where the birds are singing their chorus, try taking your headphones out. It might be better for you than you think. Hey, so there was no sponsor for this video, so if you want to help this channel, you could do so by dropping a like on this video and maybe even subscribing. It doesn't cost anything and it really does help. I'll see you next time.